Imagine living in a country for 50 years. You've served in its military, raised a family, paid your taxes, and called it home since you were a teenager. Then, because of a minor traffic violation and a decade-old paperwork error, you are snatched away and sent to a land you haven't seen in half a century. This isn't a movie plot. This is the reality for 65-year-old U.S. Army veteran Godfrey Wade. Today, we're looking at a story of service, a technicality, and what many are calling a heartbreaking betrayal of a man who wore the uniform of the United States. To understand how we got here, we have to go back to 1975. Godfrey Wade's journey began when he moved from Jamaica to the United States as a lawful permanent resident. He was just a teenager looking for the American dream. He didn't just live there. He stepped up to serve his adopted country. Wade joined the U.S. Army's 7th Infantry Division during the 1970s. He earned his service medals, performed his duties with honor, and eventually received an honorable discharge. For the next several decades, he built a full life in Covington, Georgia. He wasn't a man hiding in the shadows. He worked as a chef, a tennis coach, and even a fashion designer. He became a father of 6 and a grandfather of 3. By all accounts, he was a woven part of the fabric of his community, a man who had spent twice as much time in America as he ever had in Jamaica. But the life he spent 50 years building came crashing down in September 2025. It started with something so minor it happens thousands of times a day, a failure to use a turn signal. When police pulled Wade over, they discovered he was driving without a valid license. In most cases, that's a ticket or a brief court date. For Godfrey, it triggered an ICE detainer and the nightmare began. While in custody, a shocking truth surfaced. A deportation order had been issued against him way back in 2014. Here is the part that has his family and legal team outraged. Wade maintains he never even knew the hearing happened. The legal notices were reportedly sent to the wrong address and returned as undeliverable. He had been living his life openly for over a decade, completely unaware that the government had already decided to kick him out. When you look at the charges behind that original 2014 order, the situation feels even more extreme. They weren't violent crimes. The order was linked to a bounced check from 2007, a debt he had long since paid in full, and a domestic dispute from 2006 that did not involve physical violence. These were decades-old issues that Wade thought were behind him. Despite his status as a veteran and despite his 50 years of residency, the system moved with cold, bureaucratic precision. His family launched a desperate campaign to keep him home. They reached out to the media, organized petitions, and even got members of Congress to intervene. But in the current political climate, those pleas fell on deaf ears. His emergency stay of removal was denied. In early February 2026, the process reached its final, tragic conclusion. Wade was transferred to a facility in Louisiana and then put on a plane. After 50 years on American soil, a man who served in the U.S. Army was deported back to Jamaica with nothing but the clothes on his back and a few personal items. The case of Godfrey Wade has ignited a massive debate about how the U.S. treats non-citizen veterans. Many are asking how someone who was willing to die for the flag can be discarded so easily. While the law allows for the deportation of non-citizens with criminal records, critics argue that an honorable military discharge and 5 decades of community contribution should count for more than a missed mail delivery. For Wade, who is now 65 years old, he finds himself in a country that is technically his birthplace but feels entirely foreign. He has no home there, no job, and his entire support system, his children and grandchildren, are thousands of miles away in Georgia. He is essentially a stranger in his own home country. This story is a stark reminder of how quickly a life can be upended by the intersection of immigration law and minor police encounters. It raises a haunting question. Is this a matter of the law is the law, or is it a failure of the system to protect those who volunteered to protect it? The fight for Wade's return is not over, as his legal team continues to pursue appeals, hoping that a court will eventually recognize the procedural errors in his case.
If I didn't believe that this country is still great, I wouldn't want to stay here. This country is a great country. I've shed my blood for this country.
But for now, a 65-year-old veteran sits in Jamaica, wondering how the country he served for 50 years could turn its back on him so completely. What do you think about the deportation of veterans who have lived in the country for decades? Is the system broken, or is this just the law being applied? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This is a conversation that needs to happen. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to stay updated on this story and others like it. I'll see you in the next one.
He came here at 15, chasing light across the sea. Wore the uniform of freedom, said, America, take me. 8 long years in battle boots, 4 continents of fire. Decorations on his chest for rising ever high. But 50 years later, when he needed us the most, this country that he bled for turned him into a ghost, a taillight and a turn sign. That's all they had to say. Then the goons of Donald Trump dragged this hero far away. Free Godfrey Wade, let the whole world hear the name. A veteran in chains is a national shame. You don't cage the brave, you don't punish the true. Godfrey fought for us, now we must fight for him too. Free Godfrey Wade, America, do right. If you believe in freedom, stand up and fight. 3 months in the gulag, sleeping on the floor, with sewage from the urinals flowing beneath the door. 80 men, 2 toilets, no dignity at all. This is cruelty by design. This is Stephen Miller's call. They took away protections meant for veterans who served, and gave the fascists in the system everything they wanted, every tool they deserved. But a man who coached our children, cooked our meals and stitched our clothes was treated like a criminal. That's how low this country goes. Free Godfrey Wade, let the whole world hear the name. A veteran in chains is a national shame. You don't cage the brave, you don't punish the true. Godfrey fought for us, now we must fight for him too. Free Godfrey Wade, America, do right. If you believe in freedom, stand up and fight. 50 years he loved this land, 50 years he raised his hand. And how do we repay the brave? A cage, a mat, a sewage wave? No, not in our name, not in our country, not ever again. The cafe in Georgia's capital was the last job that he held before the Trump machine decided justice could be shelved. A tailor, a coach, a chef, a man who lived the dream. But the racists in the system only see the melanin. April Watkins cried, he loves his country still. But loyalty means nothing to the ones who only kill. Kill hope, kill mercy, kill the promise of this land. And unless we rise together. Take this moment, take a stand. Free Godfrey Wade, shout it in the street. No more cages built on hatred, no more iron seats. You don't jail the loyal, you don't torture the brave. He served this nation proudly, now this nation must say, Free Godfrey Wade, all hands on deck. If we let this stand, we'll be the ones who break next. Raise your voice to heaven till the barricades shake. Free Godfrey Wade, for justice, for mercy, for America's sake. For America's sake.